It's not going to work, is it? There we go. That extra little bit of light source. It's not much, but helps balance things a little bit at least. So that is the hope. I'm going to play a tune real quick, and then I will launch into the tirade, which today is deserved more than anything.
Or a shiny ride. I've got my skateboard and the streets are wide. Don't need a million, don't need the fame. Happiness is the only name I claim. I got my smile, that's my treasure. We're broken by this kind of pleasure. I'm not chasing the rag race stuff. I know how to live. Happiness is enough.
Okay.
Higher could break the mold, but I'm just fine with a heart of gold. I see their towers, but I won't climb. I've got my freedom, I've got my time. I got my smile, that's my treasure. No broken by this kind of pleasure. I'm not chasing the rat race.
I would actually say this one's more appropriate for how the mood I'm in.
Hey, Lisa, put the fries in the bag. Hey, Lisa, quit being a foolish slag. Nobody wants you or needs you here. Crawl away, go away, just never come near. Hey, Lisa, put the fries in the bag. Hey, Lisa, you're a filthy nasty head.
Throw that up on there. Okay. Anyhow, greetings and salutations, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome once again to the Storyteller's Corner. I'm your host, Joshua T. Calkins Trilogy, also known as Byron of Sidious in most places that I frequent online, including YouTube, including Rumble, including pretty much any Discord, including pretty much any place where I tend to travel online. I either use my own real name, Joshua T. Calkins Trilogy, or the moniker and username Byron of Sidious. Either or is perfectly fine and acceptable. The program that I usually, if I have a program, I call it the Storyteller's Corner. Why? Because I am a storyteller, first and foremost, when it comes to anything that I do here online, including this, Justice of Amelia. I'm going to do the whole JDA buy my book thing. Pretty early on here, so fuck it. Say it anyway. Dear YouTube, you can suck a great big fat one. Not entirely certain why the decision was reached to nuke from orbit the user Ryan Roger Athay and his program Reality Based. None of the videos can be accessed anymore because his account on YouTube was terminated. Whether this was as a result, you know what, actually, this is not about me, so let's go ahead and get rid of this. All right, that's better. Sorry about that. Ryan's account was poofed, nuked from orbit. Thus far, I don't know the rationale, the reason behind this. I haven't seen anybody discuss or reveal why he got yeeted the hell out of here, or out of YouTube, rather. I say here, but I am dual streaming to Rumble and YouTube, thanks to the use of Rumble Studio. It's really nice that Rumble Studio allows users to dual stream to YouTube. That's very big of them. It's very kind of them. Though I really do have to wonder sometimes about the wisdom of allowing people to, or making it so easy for people to dual stream to your direct competitor. But I know that it's my understanding that YouTube Studio, when it was being put together on the back end, the folks at Rumble well understood that folks really did still view YouTube as the default platform to go to for video sharing uploads. Not so much. There's been a number of problems with YouTube over the years. We're all aware of those issues to do with the adpocalypse way back in the day, with YouTube getting purchased by Google way back in, I think it was 2009 that Google purchased YouTube. I can't remember. I've been on the platform on YouTube since 2007, and I have seen all kinds of skullduggery and fuckery afoot since the early days that I've been on. Been on the platform for quite a long time. I've only had one warning on my channel years and years ago because I used a copywritten soundtrack or music track for one of my videos. And I got slapped with a warning on that video, and it was made unavailable in all regions. Okay, not a big deal. That video, along with hundreds of others, has long since been deleted. About 6-7 years ago, I removed and deleted somewhere in the range of 300 videos that I had on YouTube at that time. And I've only, for about the last year and a half, 2 years, been semi-routinely putting videos up on YouTube again. For the most part, they are carryovers or backups to stuff that I was uploading to BitChute before that kind of became half defunct, and that I upload here to Rumble, which I'm not really routine about. I'm not very good about staying consistent when it comes to any kind of video uploading or streaming. This is not my primary modus operandi. I tend to prefer the written word as my medium of information or conceptual exchange. I'm much more comfortable with the written word. It's what I work in terms of my passion. It's not what I actually work in. My day job, I'm just a janitor. But I've talked about that before. But in case I didn't express it strongly enough before or in the title of the video, YouTube can suck it. For what reason was Ryan Roger Athey nuked from orbit? I actually have a hypothesis. John, problematic white guy, has been saying for a while, hey, look, we need to get ready to make a shift over to Rumble or to some other platform because YouTube is a content gulag where you are only allowed to speak if what you are saying is in line with the consensus of the progressive left. For many years, this has been kind of obvious. And it's been kind of obvious that they allow certain dissident voices or folks right of center, right of Mao, to speak as they will on certain topics. You have to be very selective about what you say on YouTube, or they will absolutely neuter you. No question. And this most recent dropping of the depth charge would signal to me, at least, that there's we've hit another acceleration point when it comes to matters of the culture war taking place in various places online, especially on YouTube. Ryan, I mean no offense when I say this, he didn't have the biggest channel. He wasn't the most successful streamer or content uploader. Who am I to talk? Neither am I. but I do have two eyeballs in my skull and enough brain cells rattling around to make a few connections and recognize this seems really suspect. The worst thing that I could imagine somebody at YouTube charging Ryan with, at least at this juncture, from what I've seen available on his channel and from, uh, water cooler chit chat, is that he went sort of hard at certain personalities, including one, Alyssa Mercante, who, with less than 1,000 subscribers, last I checked, somehow has a channel manager or partner, someone at YouTube who works hand in glove with her. How? Her channel is not nearly large enough to credit it a partner directly with YouTube or Google. It defies one's previously established or a priori understanding of how these YouTube channel partnerships operate. Is it because she was notable outside of YouTube's bailiwick? Because she was someone who had notoriety as a journo rat at Kotaku? Is that why she was granted somebody with an inside lane wherein she could have a video removed for violating community guidelines policies, but then be able to re-upload a slightly edited version of said video the very next day? Doesn't seem to me to be an even-handed application of the guidelines, rules, and expectations of YouTube. The guidelines and expectations of which, by the way, they're never transparent about. They utilize as much mealy-mouthed legalese and linguistic jujitsu as humanly possible in order to confine people to their own little narrow area and leave people walking on eggshells because they're not sure exactly what they can get away with saying and remain on the platform. YouTube, fuck you. Clarify your guidelines. Clarify your rules and restrictions. And if you're going to make rules and restrictions and guidelines, apply them evenly. Because for years now, people have been able to recognize that you fuckers don't apply any of your rules and expectations with an even hand. You didn't do it in the days when Susan Wojcicki was still alive and operating your service, and you're not doing it evenly under Neil Mohan either. Neither one of those individuals seems to have understood the idea of equality of access and rule expectation. YouTube was supposed to, from its inception, be a place where private individuals, people who were not already notable for other media presences or in other areas of entertainment or popular culture, could come on, upload or live stream their thoughts, opinions, ideas, creations to share amongst the public. It was very much in its initial inception a form of vox populi, vox dei, the Latin for the will of the people or the voice of the people is the voice of God. I know I'm mixing my metaphors in here a little bit, cribbing a little bit from religion. For some folks, that's going to be irritating, and I apologize, but fuck you, suck it up and deal with it. There has never been a point where I can recall YouTube evenly applying their expectations across users, whether it be folks who are immensely notable and possessed of an insanely high subscriber count, being able to get away with practically murder, being able to bend and break the rules outright whenever they so choose because they're grabbing them stacks of cash for themselves and for YouTube. Whether it be because of that form of favoritism or because somebody like Alyssa Mercante, who again, her channel does not have anywhere near the kind of traffic or subscriber base that would make one assume that she's being protected and guarded and put into a hug box where she can comfortably say whatever the fuck she pleases and get away with it. But somebody like Ryan Roger Athe, who tends to be a little bit more confrontational with people who deserve to be confronted, gets nuked from orbit. Why? What did he do or say that was so egregious that he had to be completely eliminated at the drop of a hat? Were there any warnings on his account? I don't remember him mentioning any warnings. There were no suspensions. It was boom, straight to jail to utilize the meme. Why? There is no good explanation that I can think of, particularly from what I have seen from his content, having watched his material and content for about the last 7 or 8 months. It strikes me as peculiar, especially given that this guy, the biggest thing that I admire about Ryan is his ability to network with other small to mid-sized creators who touch upon topics in the area of popular culture and entertainment, especially in video games. It's primarily what he's become known for, is to try and highlight and showcase up and coming channels and users, as well as to highlight people who seem to be coming back into a sort of resurgence. It's really quite endearing. And yes, he makes a number of what people might classify as edgy or inappropriate jokes. Who gives a fuck? He's being humorous. Did you people at Google/Alphabet or YouTube all lose your sense of humor? What war did it get shot off in? Did it get blown off in the culture war? Because that seems to be what happened. Your casualties of funny. You got no comprehension of what is a gag or a dart thrown in good humor. Even if the dart is thrown in bad humor, it's thrown for a pretty good fucking reason. But no, let's not examine any of that. Let's just go ahead and yeet this guy from the sky. I fully expect that the folks who have been on panels for Reality Based with Ryan Roger Athe are now going to be under an extremely powerful microscope. Their every action, their every video upload, their every stream, their every utterance put under such a fine lens that the moment they put a toe out of line, they're going to get smacked with a warning, smacked with a suspension, or completely tossed off the platform as well. What the fuck are you doing, YouTube? What are you thinking? Who in your ranks thinks it's a great idea to bring this kind of nonsense back around? Have you not recognized, you yelling idiots, that you do not control the entire realm of streaming and or video uploads anymore? While you can sneer down your nose at platforms like Rumble, certainly one of my favorite people on YouTube, Master of the TDS, seems to sneer down his nose at Rumble. He hasn't clarified why. He doesn't owe anyone an explanation for why he seems to look with some disdain or scorn on the platform. He's perfectly okay going over there at Odyssey, which is another alternative to YouTube. Good for him and his wife, Writing Raven, for recognizing you can't put all your eggs in one basket. It's not reliable. You have to have a presence somewhere else. Why do I say that? What just fucking happened? The reason that these competitors keep cropping up is because YouTube puts their digital hands around your necks at every turn. People choose to self-censor and self-select out of saying certain things or addressing particular topics or just speaking their genuine, honest perspective and opinion because there is this deep-seated fear that if they do say what's actually on their mind and how they actually feel about certain subjects, that they're going to get booted right off the platform. Well, thank Christ that there are alternatives now that seem to be somewhat sustainable. BitChute for a while was my alternative home for video uploads. The technical back end of shit got really buggy, unreliable, and they don't seem to know where the hell they're going to be centered out of anymore. So I have effectively just kind of left my account there as a ghost. It's still haunting the place, but I don't really use it anymore. I'm here on Rumble primarily for streaming because I'm operating off of my tablet right now, off of my Kindle Fire 10 device. Because my laptop is effectively on the fritz. I can't really use my standard laptop for much of anything until I can get it to my to one of my work buddies he works in their IT department, so I trust him to be able to do what needs to be done to fix my laptop and get it into an operational state again. But right now, I'm operating pretty much everything I do online off of this tablet and my phone. That's why the last couple of music video uploads I put onto my YouTube channel had the still image that I use has got that weird kind of dual coloration oddment. It's because I've been using this free video pad editor program on my phone. It's a free version of the video pad program that I previously used on my laptop to produce my videos for YouTube and Rumble and elsewhere. But there's a heavy watermark for the mobile version. That's why the color looks really weird on those uploads. So I doubt there's many of you who are wondering about that, but in case you were, that's why. Anyhow, how long has it been since I said fuck YouTube? Oh yeah, fuck YouTube. Sorry, just figured I should throw that in there. I don't understand how they imagine they'll be able to continue unopposed when we can all see their thumb on the scale when it comes to how people engage in the culture war conversations in popular culture and sociopolitics on the platform. The other day I went to look through on YouTube to find videos related to this small independent publishing company that has just got up and running in the UK. It's being operated by a genre fiction author who has spun up this small indie press that is primarily seeking to represent and publish male authors. That is their only guideline caveat. And they've already gotten so many submissions that they are closed for the remainder of the year. I was too late. I couldn't sneak in there. That's okay. I'll do my own thing, as I have been doing for a few years now, since Books for a Buck has effectively shut down. They're only doing like 1 or 2 books a year. KD is no longer editing. And Untreed Reads no longer belongs to Jay Hartman. It belongs to some soulless corporate cocksucker whose idea of good fiction is the sort of thing you see mass marketed out there by Sarah J. Maas, this soulless pachinko machine bullshit that they call romantasy, but is little more than surface level smut with no characterization, no depth of plot, and no respect for the kind of mythology that is used as a paper-thin skin suit to drape over their depraved, degenerate sexual fantasies. But anyway, I was looking on YouTube for videos talking about this publishing outlet. I could not find any video result except for one. Out of dozens and dozens of results, I found one video that was praising this guy, that was praising this publisher, this author become publisher's efforts. One. And I doubt that there's only one person who made a video praising this man's efforts or giving kudos to somebody deciding that in the arena of literary and fantasy and literary and fantasy fiction, that someone is going to actually target male authors. Since there is a shocking lack nowadays of publishers who are willing to take on your manuscript if you happen to have a dick between your legs and can look down at it and go, oh yeah, I'm a guy. No, most publishers nowadays, especially in the mid-sized and small press arena, seem to only be willing to accept your manuscript if you're a dude, if you've got a dick, if you are willing to look down and deny its existence. Seems to be the only way you can get your manuscript into them these days. If I identify as a woodworking bench, can I get my manuscript across then? Fucking hell. But why, YouTube? Why are there dozens and dozens and dozens of results of people criticizing and giving shit to this small UK-based publishing outlet that's just been spun up, focused on male authors? Why is everything that I find overwhelmingly negative? You can't tell me it's because that's all there is negative feedback. I call horse shit. I imagine that there are plenty of booktubers out there who are going to applaud this effort, but their videos aren't being suggested or recommended to me when I search for specifically male author, a publisher seeking male authors. When I search for that in YouTube, in the search bar, all I get is dozens and dozens of videos of people pouring vitriol on the guy and his outfit for trying to do this. I do not believe for 1 minute that that's all there is hate and vitriol for that effort. I personally believe YouTube is seeing anybody who gives praise to it that doesn't have tens of thousands of subscribers or viewers and is shoving their videos aside and making certain that you can't even find the shit if you look for it in their search bar. I can almost guarantee it. Now, I am being a little bit paranoid and a little tinfoil hat, but at this point, can you blame me? I'm aware I don't have any viewers on YouTube right now for this stream. That's okay. The whole purpose of this stream being available on YouTube right now is to tell the folks at YouTube they can suck my dick. Or pucker up and prepare to kiss one of the ugliest faces in America. I don't want to be like this. I don't want to be pissed off or aggravated. I've had a couple of good days. Outside of this nonsense, which is, generally speaking, to my personal life, unimportant nonsense by and large, I should not give a shit. I've got my own stuff to worry about. I've got my day job, I've got my kids, I've got my house. Situation with my in-laws, my mother-in-law, I'm not in the best of health. I should be a lot more concerned with that. And I generally am. But this is what's in my face. Belgian Dan! Greetings and salutations to you, oh medicated, lubricated rumbler. And I say that because I have to ask Dan, why are you watching on YouTube? Yes, I'm there. I'm streaming on YouTube right now. But if it is at all possible, my good friend, my longtime friend, I beg of you, I beseech thee, open your Rumble account and hop onto the show from there, and then close your YouTube window. Deny YouTube that view. Deny them that view. And I understand that that would actually hurt my metrics way more than it would affect YouTube, but fuck them. Well, Josh, why? Oh, you're on your phone. Okay, never mind. If it is not available to you to go through that methodology, I will not blame you. I hold you blameless for that. That's not your fault. So, my apologies. But you do know why YouTube is so bloody available on phones is because it's phone Android operation or the Android operating system pretty much requires that YouTube be available and automatically installed on your phone when you get the fucking device. But Rumble? No. You have to go to the marketplace to get Rumble. Oh, okay. Hope you're having a good visit, brother. There was a point where I was really kind of wondering if Google was going to continue to allow the Rumble app to be available on the Google store, the Play Store. I would not be shocked if at some point they drop the hammer on that and say, no, here's our digital axe. We're going to cleave it through Rumble's neck and cut them off at the source. At which point, all you have to do is just make sure you can get an APK sideloaded onto your Android phone. Or if you're using an iPhone, the Androids or the Apple iStore, I imagine, would have the app available through that. But by the way, that's a whole other discussion for another time. Why is there only these two marketplaces that we've got available? Otherwise, you've got to sideload an APK onto your Android or figure out a way to sideload the app or program onto your iPhone. Why does it seem like they want to make that sound like a dirty, underhanded, back alley tactic to utilize to get to that other service? They have no qualms about making it look unpleasant or insidious that you want to get this app or this site available to you without going through their walled garden. It's just another control choke point. It's baffling and infuriating to me. And I know I'm a relative nobody. All right? I've always been a relative nobody, a small timer, tangentially attached to a couple of communities on YouTube or back in the day on Blog TV, on Rumble, even on BitChute. Outside of the arts and literature category, I was a relative unknown. In the arts and literature category, yeah, I was doing pretty good. I was up in the top 5 consistently, month to month. Sure, Jim Howdy, great. But BitChute is no longer really a viable option anymore, it would seem. And by the way, this is a sidebar, and this is to do with Rumble. To the folks at Rumble, you guys are really not good at encouraging non-political content to come over to Rumble. Damned near everything that you guys promote or push onto your front page is some political program. Now, I understand a big reason for that is because folks who are right of Mao Zedong find Rumble to be a lot more freewheeling, a place for them to come and espouse their ideas and opinions. I grant you that. That's what a lot of people come to Rumble for. So you are trying to capitalize on, well, we know what people are coming here for, so let's give them what they want. Understandable, I will grant you that. But how do you expect to grow your user base at any point if all you're doing is political material? There are tens, hundreds of thousands of users on YouTube who go there for animation, who go there for comedy, who go there to watch, kind of gotcha videos about the law and law enforcement and how to get around different, shady police tactics. There's all kinds of content on there about, epic fails and independent animation, people who critique books, people who critique comics, people who are trying to do their own independent artistic endeavors, folks who are putting together their own sketch shows on YouTube. When are you going to start courting those people? Because if you want Rumble to be more than an echo chamber for the politically dispossessed, then you're going to need to do something to reach out to those folks. Now, granted, I will grant that one particular person who was focused in the area of law, unfortunately lives in my neck of the woods here in Minnesota, a fellow by the name of Nick Rekieta, not exactly the poster child for non-political material coming to Rumble because the guy turned out to be a coke fiend. Okay, I will grant you that didn't turn out so hot. Another one of the kind of flagship folks or personalities that you offered a contract to on Rumble, who wasn't strictly a political streamer or content producer, Jeremy Hambley. Things seem to be not doing so great for the quartering either. Same with Styx, Hex, and Hammer. But these are people who they really seem to have shot themselves in the foot. Because all they have is news of the day, and in the case of Mr. Hambley, apparently some really shitty coffee. So, yeah. I don't know if that was ever going to work out well in Rumble's favor. But much as I have a decent time poking fun at Jeremy, there was one thing that he was definitely right about from the word go, which was get yourself to another platform, folks, on YouTube. Get over to Rumble. Start a channel there. Mirror your content onto Rumble so that when YouTube decides they don't need you anymore and they click the button and turn your ass off into the expanses of cyberspace, you'll have a landing pad. I will grant you that the folks who I most enjoy on YouTube are predominantly video essayists talking about different narrative and psychological analyses of various video games, films, and television shows, and comic books. Max Derritt comes to mind immediately. He does not have a presence on Rumble. I really wish that he would mirror here. Shady Durags, who does a lot of animation analysis as a storyteller from a reader/viewer's perspective, utilizing critical analysis. He's a fantastic content creator, but he too does not have a presence on Rumble, only on YouTube. Savage Books. I don't believe he has a presence on Rumble just yet. And he's a wonderful content creator as an analyst of literature and other forms of media. And he works as an editor. Very well informed. Just great guy to listen to talk about fiction and proper narrative techniques and character development. He is a great listen. But these guys, what they do doesn't often run afoul of the sort of thing that YouTube and Google would consider quote unquote dangerous territory to walk or tread upon, because they don't tend to delve that far into geopolitics or socio-political conversation, because that's not their focus. Nor is it my focus. God's honest, I could probably get away with continuing to do the vast majority of the material that I do. I could probably continue to do it on YouTube and be perfectly safe for the most part. But every now and again, I'm going to inch up to that line, and I'm going to have to ask myself, is this the point where I have to self-censor? And to tell the truth and shame the devil, I have done that before. I have self-censored. There is a short story that I wrote years and years ago. It's an Amelia City story called Sleigh Bells. And in the original final draft of that story, the chief of Santa's elves is discussing, world populations and the various places that Santa has to go to deliver presents. And one of the other elves asks him about China. Now, in the version that I wrote and published in text format, this chief of the elves says, we're not too worried about a bunch of Chinese commie chinks not having us on their route. We don't need their belief. They don't believe in anything anyway. That's effective. I'm paraphrasing, but he basically says, who cares if a bunch of commie chinks don't believe in Santa Claus? There's enough belief elsewhere to get him through the night. That is a horrendous racial epithet to utter. In the case of that character, he kind of is a racist. He's kind of a prick. Those people exist. But when I read that story to be produced on YouTube as an audiobook presentation, I changed that passage. I changed it because my immediate worry when I was reading through it and preparing to read it aloud for audio presentation on YouTube, my first thought was, they will delete this video, or they will suspend me, or they will restrict its availability because of the use of the racial epithet chink. That's why they will yeet me or give me a warning and waggle their freaking digital finger at me. Nowadays, I'm kind of at the point where I don't give a fuck. Why should I? Why should anybody self-censor for this pack of digital feral hyenas that operate on YouTube on behalf of Google/Alphabet? Oh yeah, Dan, I expect that'll probably come along. I wouldn't be shocked. I would not be shocked at all. But do you understand my frustration? The word comes up in the written form of the story as dialogue being delivered by a fictional character. These are not my words coming out of my mouth as an actual perspective towards the Chinese people. It is a character in a work of fiction, just like in Empty Prayer, another Amelia City story, a much longer story, where the group of religious zealots in that story are loosely based off of the Westboro Baptist Church, and they carry around the picket signs that say things like, God hates fags, because that was what was on their signs. They were extremely homophobic, and they let it be blatantly, proudly known and shared. And the primary patriarch character of that group, he said some horrendous things about homosexuals. When I was reading and recording the audio for that presentation, I had forgotten to be cautious about uttering the lines that he uttered in that story. And it went up on YouTube and on Rumble, and everything seemed to be fine. I didn't. It made me wonder, like, okay, that's skated by. If I was able to get away with that, what the hell could Ryan Roger Athay possibly have said or done to get completely punted off of YouTube's platform? What? What could he possibly have done or said? I'm confused. I'm often confused. That's not exactly, a new status quo. But yeah, it's irritating. And I'm not saying anything new. Everybody knows this. I've even harped on about this myself before. I don't want to have to keep coming back to and relitigating this problem. And yes, Dan, I think that's exactly what happened. My hypothesis, as I said in the Fringe Creator Network Discord that I'm in there, thanks to John, problematic white guy. I kind of went on a small tangent last night, saying, I assume that the folks who have showed up on panel shows for reality based are going to come under extra layers of scrutiny now, at least for the next little while, and they're going to get punted too. One or two of them are going to get warnings or community guideline strikes, or they'll get a warning message from YouTube, or their material will just get throttled. Greetings, Moira Kitty. Meow, y'all. Greetings and salutations to you, Moira. But the folks who Ryan has highlighted as up-and-coming creators or as resurgent creators, regardless of the kind of material that they produce, I imagine that they are now going to find themselves under the watchful eye of the folks at YouTube. And the moment that they say or do something that could be construed, rightly or wrongly, as too close to what YouTube once tried to deem borderline content, lovely how they never clarified what the fuck exactly that means. Borderline to what? What is the border? What are we approaching? What no topic or words is YouTube not going to allow us to say or speak or consider? I'm all right, Moira. I feel like I should know who you are, but the username eludes me. That's probably That's probably a memory issue on my part. I apologize. Kind of amusing, too. Here I am railing and ranting and raging about YouTube, and Moira is watching on YouTube. So, funny how that works. Yeah. No, they don't clarify anything. They never do. And that's, again, why I say it's irritating, Dan, to have these community guidelines and the rules and regulations of YouTube are never really clarified. Oh, you're in problematics. Okay. Oh, yep. Yeah, okay. This is my Wi-Fi here. Okay. Well, greetings and salutations, Moira. I would recommend that if it's at all possible, Moira, if you have a Rumble account, that you would hop over to Rumble and you can hop right. If you don't have an account, it's quick and easy to set one up, and you can pick up from there. Jib Jab video. Oh my God. I forgot about Jib Jab. I remember that shit. That was what, back in like 2008, 2009, or even earlier, I think. Yeah, it had to be earlier because there were Jib Jab videos about the election between Bush Jr. and John Kerry. So that's been around for a long goddamn time. Holy shit. Yeah, Ryan getting nuked from orbit, Moira. Horse shit. And just another reason why I would recommend make a Rumble account, so that you can continue to keep up with his material. He's listed under RRA 1999. I'm going to go ahead and type that in the chat, actually. Oh, come on. Okay. We'll put this on. Here we go. RRA 1999. There we go. That is that's the name, the channel name to search for to find Ryan on Rumble. RRA 1999. Ryan Roger Athay, born in 1999. How do I know that? Because he has said numerous times before, despite the beard and the hair and looking like an old man, he's only 25 years old. So I assume that's why he went with that username. It's his initials plus the year he was born. By the way, Ryan, if you see this, not the greatest of usernames if you're going for cybersecurity or operational security. Your OPSEC is terrible, man. But anyway, I digress. Come on. Is that going to be like that now permanently? Semi-permanently? God damn it. Oh, well. There we go. Now, because I am putzing around with the screen here, there we go. Should have never done that. There we go. That's better. Thank you, Dan. I am certain that Ryan will appreciate that. Watch one or two of his videos, leave a comment, let him know that you support his continued endeavors, and that it's only fitting that somebody who is so based in reality should get booted off of YouTube, because the folks at YouTube are clearly fucking delusional. But my wife just got home from work a little early, so I am going to go ahead and cut this now. Before I go, any last quick questions, comments, or concerns? Because I don't usually get to spend that much time with my wife before I have to head to work. So I kind of like to go up and spend some time with her. I'm a father first, husband second, storyteller a close third. That is what God calls me to do and to be. Dan, your timing was excellent then. Like I said before, I try not to be this guy when I come on here. I would much prefer to just sit and relax and talk a little bit about storytelling technique and characterization and the proper differentiation of how to portray a bladed weapon in horror versus a bladed weapon in fantasy, and how that same bladed weapon can have a completely different atmosphere and descriptor set when utilized in a science fiction story, whether you add some kind of secondary high technology tool or polymer blend handle so that it can only cut if the handle matches your fingerprints or whatever. There's all kinds of shit in genre fiction I'd much rather be talking about. But because this nonsense keeps happening on fucking YouTube, I end up growling about it. So once again, YouTube, fuck you. Give me one moment. Okay. All right. If there's no questions, comments, or concerns, Moira, I apologize for not sticking around longer or being here longer since you just hopped in. Again, I'm sorry about that, but I thank you for popping in and for choosing to spend even a few minutes out of your day, because that is something else that needs to be expressed on my part. Wherever you go online for streaming or for video content, there is an infinite smorgasbord of material available for you to choose from. And even if it was only for a few minutes, you chose to take some of your valuable time and spend it here listening to this maniac. And I appreciate that. So I will ask you, anyone listening or watching, I will ask you the following. I ask you to take care of yourselves and to always remember, keep reading.